My name is Edmund Chow. I'm one of the research engineers in MNTL. I'm going to talk about the equipment training, the equipment use, and finally some basic clean room protocol. So let's start with equipment training. If you belong to an established group that have many group members already working in the MNTL, try to work with some of the senior members in your group on the equipment that you want to get trained on, as they will know more about the specific need in your project. For example, in this SEM, your group may know more about what kind of accelerating voltage, what kind of emission current sample holder work better in your specific project. We as staff can provide you some general guideline on how to choose those parameters. But you will save a lot of time if you can work with your group member first, and then you email the staff to do a final check-off so that you can use it on your own. The second thing about the equipment training is we strongly recommend you to wait until you have sample ready before request training. I have seen many new users. They will email all the staff, ask to train on every possible equipment, AFM, SEM, evaporator, and so on. Please do not do this. This is a waste of your time and the staff's time. The reason this is not effective is because if you request training long before your samples are ready, you are not going to be able to remember how to use the tool when your sample are ready. For example, if you take your driving test and get your driver license, but if you don't drive it for a few months, and then after a few months, even you have your driver license, you are not going to feel comfortable to drive the car. We as staff will try to respond to your training request within a few days. Therefore, there's no need to request training long before your samples. Try to request training when your sample are ready, or you are ready to use the tool in the next week or so, instead of request training when you just get in and try to get all the equipment training done all at once. This will overload the staff and it will be a waste of your time. The next thing about the equipment training is you must get checked out by the staff before you try to operate the tool on your own. I know some of you have used similar equipment in some other lab before, but each equipment can be slightly different. Especially on some of the older tools that we have, they may not have the same interlock you have in the tools that you used before. So for your own safety and also for the well-being of the equipment, please wait until you get checked off by the staff before attempt to use the equipment. If not, you may hurt yourself or you may accidentally damage the equipment. In that case, you have to wait even longer, and you also cause delay for other users. So please make sure you request training, get checked out before use the tool on your own. Now let's go on to equipment use. One of the things that we emphasize a lot is to fill out the equipment log. It only takes less than 3 minutes. In most cases, it takes less than a minute. But by doing that, to fill out the equipment log, it can help reduce a lot of equipment downtime. For example, in the CHA evaporator, we ask the user to record the pump downtime that required to obtain certain pressure. But as a user, if you record the pump downtime every time you use it, that will help the staff to identify either leak problem or the pump problem early on. In that case, if there's a small problem, we can try to repair the problem or order a pump so that we don't wait until the total failure before trying to address the problem. So once again, please spend an extra minute, and that will help the whole lab community by filling out the equipment log sheet. The next thing about the equipment use is reservation. Most of the tools in the lab require reservation through my MNTL. One problem we have been seeing is there are some selfish users. They are not sure when their sample will be ready. And in that case, okay, let's reserve Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I don't know when my sample are ready, so I'm going to do that. And the problem of doing that is it created a vicious cycle, because one user reserve multiple time slots for just one sample. The other user will have hard time to get on the tools. They have to, because the tool will appear to be so booked up, they cannot get their time. And they are going to doing the same thing. They're going to reserve multiple time slots. And pretty soon, the whole reservation system will be broken down, because everyone is reserved 3 time slots for each sample they attempt to process. And please do not do that, because that will make the whole lab community suffer. So we understand occasionally there is some unexpected fabrication problem, and your sample is not ready for the tool that you reserve during the time. Try to keep that to minimum. And if that happens, cancel your reservation as soon as you know you are not going to have the sample ready, and email the user that you cancel the time slot. We can do all this through the reservation system. We can show you, or you can ask the senior other student. Everyone should know how to email every user that on that tool, certified to use of that tool, and cancel the reservation if you know your sample are not ready. Finally, if you see an equipment problem, so for example, even though the CHA evaporator is still kind of working, but if it's making some loud noise, don't just ignore it. Don't just do your operation and go away. Please notify the super user for any equipment problem. Strange noise, strange smell, some water leak. Even if you are not using that tool, if you hear the alarm from the tool that you are not using, notify the staff. Just notify the staff anything you find is abnormal. By doing that, you can help the whole lab. And the phone number of the staff is all posted on the door of each clean room lab. So if you see anything abnormal, just spend an extra minute. We appreciate that, and the whole lab will appreciate that. Then I'm going to talk about some basic clean room protocol. We obviously don't want you to bring some incompatible material in the clean room, such as regular paper, cardboard, pencil. And you might notice that in the clean room, DI water faucet is keep running at a steady flow. Don't try to shut it off. It turns out the deionized water will get the iron build-up if you don't have continuous circulation. Therefore, we keep it a steady flow so that the DI water won't be degraded. Another thing I want to remind you is those clean room wipes are very expensive. I know that sometimes when you go in there to pick it up, you will unavoidably pick up a stack of it. Try to spend an extra few seconds, just use one at a time. If you can help the lab reduce the cost, we don't need to increase the user fee, and it will benefit the whole MNTL community. Another small thing, the squat bottle, when the level of the solvent is low, try not to wait for the next user to refill it. All the solvent are in the bottom of the solvent hood. Try to refill it, and be a good citizen of the lab, clean up yourself, and we can have a productive and safe clean room lab. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the lab storage. We know that lab storage is always a problem because the clean room space is expensive. Therefore, try to reduce to the minimum amount of the stuff that you keep in the clean room. We do have those user tub, and you can ask the clean room staff. We will give you a designated tub, and you write your name, your net ID, your advisor, and the day, and you can keep the stuff in the clean room. And thank you for your attention.